MB2 Underground is back for another episode. This time, we hit the club fresh with our stunner shades on, two-steppin' getting jiggy with our J's on. I'm Sarah Reed.
Wow, and I'm Joe Fox. That was intense.
Well, our guest today really likes two-stepping, so whenever I started digging into two-stepping, you know the song, Going Two-Step.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same.
That, but when's the last time you were two-stepping?
I don't.
You didn't two-step at Southwestern? San Marcos?
No. I don't.
You missed out. That was a big
I'm more
part
of a
my college
twerker than a
experience.
two-stepper.
Okay, yeah, maybe different generations. Twerking
Probably
didn't
that.
exist. Yeah, special. Steve, speaking of special, we got a special guest today. So this person I think is special for a couple of reasons. One of which is they are a senior member of a really special team here at MB2, the director of operations infrastructure we have at MB2 that supports our partners.
Crucial,
absolutely crucial, profound. They are literally on the front lines of the thought partner concept that is so beneficial to many of our partners. And this person also has been at MB2 for 7 years. And like that in the life cycle of the business, that's like OG status, like yourself.
Beautiful representation of the tenure.
Yeah. So anyway, excited to learn more about not only the director of operations role and the support that's offered, but also just kind of the change in the organization that they've witnessed in that time period. So without further ado, the pride of the Forson Buffaloes, Senior Director of Operations, Miss Rachel O'Neill. Welcome, friend. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's actually Forsan.
Thank you for correcting me.
I'm sorry. It happens all the time, and it's, you know.
That's not cool. And now
we
I
have
know.
4 types of sand underneath the ground. It's oil country.
Are you serious? That's the genesis of, wow.
How do you spell it?
Forsan.
But not D.
No.
But there's 4 sands.
Right.
Okay.
But there's also a U gone, so just kind of.
Forsan?
Just, no, Forsan.
I'm tracking.
Is there like a story on the genesis of the name? Like a few folks.
Because of the 4 sands.
No, I know, but like the actual story, like were there a few folks that got together and like, hey, we're going to drop the U, we're going to drop the D.
You know, it's West Texas. We kind of smush words and just make our own stuff up. So that's probably what happened.
So tell us about how you made your break into the dental field.
So it was very much a chance, a fluke. I was working...
As it tends to be.
Yeah,
yes.
Right? Just, you know, besides the dentist, most of us don't intend to get into this industry. Mm-hmm. So I was working at a bridal store. And had
I forgot about this.
Yeah, I was working at a bridal store, had a 6-month-old baby.
Wow.
And my boss had been really generous and let me bring her to work with me. And she was getting to a point where she needed more interaction, and the paycheck wasn't enough to pay for daycare. So I randomly applied for a dental job, had no clue, and they were foolish enough to hire me. And
what job was it for?
It was with Dental One.
Okay.
Long time ago. I was an office manager for Dental One in South Austin.
So you applied for an office manager job?
Absolutely.
And they're like, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, she later told me that she hired me because the bridal store was at a bridal fair that Dental One was also at. And I went and found her and said hello. And she said, that's what made me decide to hire you.
How cool. And this was in 2013?
Yes. Sounds right.
Tell us about that experience at Dental One.
You know, it was... When I first started with Dental One, it was great. It was all about the people. It was all about leadership. I was in a small office. We had only been open for a few years. And it was great. I loved it. There was a lot of advantages to it. I had peers to learn from because I knew nothing. I couldn't have told you how many teeth a human had or what you did with them. I'm terrified of the dentist. So my mom thinks it's hysterical that I work in dentistry.
Yeah.
And it was great. And there came a point where it was kind of shifting into a direction I didn't think fit me anymore. We also moved and built a home in New Braunfels, and the commute was getting really long. And so I switched over to a private practice and worked there for a couple of years, loved the people. The wife was the office manager. And if you know. So that lasted for a few years, and then it was time to go on from there. And Susan Huff actually brought me to MB2.
And how did you make that connection with Susan?
We knew each other at Dental One.
Yep.
So she was there working on our discount plan. I got to work with her a few times. And she reached out to me and said, hey, we've got an opening. I think you'd be good for it. let's get you set up with an interview.
She's got a knack for that.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
when I think about anytime I've needed to hire, she's like, let me tap into my network first before we post
Absolutely.
ads. I think about my team even now, none of them came from job postings. It's
Right.
all just come from people making good referrals. And Susan has a knack for that.
She does.
100%. Just like dental practice, right? Best patients are, word of mouth referrals.
Absolutely.
So what was the genesis of joining MB2 like for you? Because you worked at a traditional DSO, you worked in private practice.
And then I was with a very small DSO called Smile Workshop that is now owned by Ideal.
Okay.
And I came from being an office manager into a regional role, and it's what I wanted. It's what I thought I understood, and I had no clue what I was getting into. And so I came to MB2, and then not only did I get into a job I really didn't understand, like 2 months later, I got a new boss.
I remember I was with you the day you were going to meet Carrie for the first time.
We were in Blanco.
Yes. I'm allergic to that entire city.
I was thinking about that
Blanco's
the other day.
awesome.
Oh, I came into the city. I was sick for an entire week. The second I drove out of city county lines, whatever it is, perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Just allergic to the whole city.
And I ran over a deer antler on that trip.
Because there was a dead deer right
Johnny
between the
was-
haunted
This is
hotel.
such a Texas podcast. It's the best.
But when you joined MB2, how many practices did you have?
I originally had 4.
Okay.
And then I got 2 acquisitions, one of them being Blanco. Pretty quickly. So by the end of the year, I had 6 practices.
So, and then big picture 2018, like MB2 as an organization had like
About
85
115.
or something like that?
I have one of the 100 plus practice shirts from, and they had just hit it not too long before I got there.
Wow.
So you weren't at the party where there was a
no.
hypnotist?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't even
told
heard
everybody
that
about
story.
Yep. Our first like milestone party we had was at the Four Seasons, Las Colinas Resorts. I don't know what it's rebranded to now.
Ritz, but yeah.
The Ritz. Yep. And they hired a hypnotist. I remember my boss got hypnotized. I learned in high school, do not get hypnotized because I got hypnotized.
Do
in
not
high school.
volunteer for that. Yeah.
Yeah. 115 locations.
Yeah, very small. Really, I knew leadership has kind of always been something that I've done. It's kind of always been something that my roles in clubs and organizations that have led into it. And, to me, it's kind of like all the presents show up on Christmas morning under the tree, right? But you don't see all the work that goes into it. And that's what operations is. It's mom scrambling in the background, buying all the presents, getting them all wrapped, making it look great, right? And what operations looks like from one side and what it looks like from behind the curtain are 2 very different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I didn't know that at the time. And that first year or so was rough.
Well, and I'd like to hear your perspective on the difference between operationally supporting I'll say legacy location and then immediately having to go through the integration process where it's almost like starting over. How does operations balance the support of 2 very different needs?
One of the biggest things about operations is we just have to be flexible. We have to be ready to roll with the punches to figure out what works. There is no one right answer. There's a goal that we're getting to, but we might get to that in 20 different ways. I remember, during COVID, during the shutdowns, the Texas rules were relatively ambiguous, and I had 20 different interpretations of what that rule meant.
Yeah.
And that's what we do in operations is we say, here's where we're going, here's where we want to get, but how do we get there? And so, supporting legacy locations is very different than supporting our newer partners that are a little bit more independent, that maybe need less, less direct support, less involvement. And so it's just kind of being able to pivot between you need me here helping hire and you need me to talk to you every couple of weeks on the phone and just make sure you're still good.
Yeah.
And just being able to kind of pivot back and forth between those needs.
That makes sense.
How do you work that balance with a new partner in terms of like, hey, look, I'm here to support you. Anything you need, we got you. But hey, we're not trying to like cross the bounds or overstep. Like, hey, we're here, but you got to help me help you. You gotta help, right? Is like, how do you balance it?
So, usually when we walk into a new partnership, it's, hey, doc, tell me what you're aiming for. What are your goals? What do you want to see happen in your practice? Tell me about your practice. Tell me about your people, your team. I want to know the practice and the doctor's goals, and then we can start working on whatever our goals might be, right?
Which I just know from integration is so imperative, because I've heard horror stories of places coming in and being like, here's what needs to happen. Here's what you need. It's kind of like with a new boss. You can't come in and start making changes. You have to say, I want to understand what's working, what's not working, where your pain points are. Let me learn from you who's been here for a while. And then let's work together on strategic planning. I think that sets MB2 apart so much in that
100%
sector.
And we don't partner with failing businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're walking into something that somebody has spent a chunk or their lifetime building, and we're here to help it grow a little bit more, make it a little bit better. But you got it there somehow. So let's figure out what that magic is and not smother that magic, just add to it.
Yeah, totally.
But we can't do that unless we understand their particular practice, their needs, their goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Chief Revenue Officer Clint Ellenberg likes to say we were purposefully inefficient at MB2. And I think that, the burden of that is on you all, right? And on the operations team. But it's such a special, magic, it's our secret sauce. Right?
It is. It is.
But it's not easy.
Well, and Joe mentioned at the very beginning during his intro that you have now been here, I'll guesstimate around 7 years, because I just did the math on my fingers and somehow it was 9 years. So
7.
I think my fingers are broken.
You're about to get a few more fingers that you can count with.
But tell us a little bit about how your role and your responsibilities have evolved over those 7 years.
Now as a senior director, I am asked to zoom out more and look at not just my practices, not just my book of business, but those of my direct reports, and say what makes sense, right? And it's not the everyday stuff. It's not the going in and having conversations with the office managers and the doctors so much as it is talking to my team and saying, hey, here's a direction. Here's a way to talk to this doctor about this, or we tried this in this other practice. Now let's try it here, or try some version of that. And a big piece of the senior director role is developing our team. I still have direct report practices that are mine to support. That looks very similar to what I did 7 years ago, except I'm better at it now than I used to be.
Great news.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for them. But that piece is different, and that piece across operations doesn't change. Whether you're a director, a regional, a senior director, an RVP, that part doesn't change. It's just that kind of that zoom out and focusing on the people that is a lot more of my time these days.
How have you seen your leadership style evolve? You go from having direct reporting offices, now you have direct reporting humans, and ultimately a large portion of their success is up to the leadership. There's some people where it's like, okay, I've done everything I can. But how has your leadership style evolved, and what have you learned? What have been the highs and the lows, or the missteps and the successes?
I think it's, as I've done it more and as I've seen more iterations of it, we solve the same problems kind of over and over and over again, right? It's everybody's got staffing problems. Everybody's got supply problems, right? And so it's getting that breadth of experience that lets me say, hey, this worked. Maybe it will work for you. It's being, at first I had to be very in the weeds. I had to know everything that was going on at every practice. And now it's important that I understand it from a distance, because then I can be that little less biased vision of what's happening in the practice, and help my people, show them where the opportunities are for them to grow. Here's how I would have that conversation, but you need to go have that conversation, right? Absolutely. But also let me know if that conversation goes sideways, so I can step in and help.
Finding the balance between, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, because I'm that way, control freak and supportive.
Absolutely.
You control freak?
All of operations is control freaks. We are 1,000% that way. Yeah. And it is, you have to learn how to say, okay, what's worth the battle and what's not worth the battle? What's going to be detrimental to the business or to the person, and what is, that's not the way I would do it, but it's low risk. See what you need.
Yeah. Just because you do it differently doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right.
That's tricky, right? To let go of the reins a little bit, but that's the only way that folks can grow, right?
Absolutely.
Is for them to do it themselves. So, my general perspective on leadership, there's part of it that I think is innate, it's genetic, right?
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you got some of that cool stuff in your family. But tell me about some of the leadership by example experiences you've had, good and bad.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to be involved with, learn from some really great examples and some really terrible ones. And I think they both have a great value. I was actually thinking the other day about, I was a student council president. I'm sure that's super surprising.
Super shocking.
I know. And
was it a contested race with 33?
Absolutely not. No.
The only name on the ballot.
Right, absolutely.
She beat all the write-ins.
I love it.
I don't think there was even a vote. I think it was just kind
hey,
of
we know Rachel
here you
since
go.
kindergarten.
Yeah,
she
it'll be
had
fine. It'll be fine. So, but our sponsor was terrible. She made it, what she wanted to do. It wasn't about what the organization, about the students wanted to do. And I think about that a lot, about, it became her personal platform. And she wasn't always kind to people. And so I kind of think about the way some interactions with us and the way that made me feel. And I don't want my people to feel that way. I don't want people that I know to feel like that.
I relate to that so much, like having different leadership, or even in like moments, whether that's just like somebody ushering me onto a subway platform, like, finding and experiencing ways that people impact me, and then taking so much responsibility for knowing that there's people who I impact that way,
right.
And learning like, oh, this made me feel good, or maybe this didn't make me feel good. So I can continue to evolve and grow from that. Even though people are different, you're going to find different things that make people feel a different way. Learning from that experience is huge.
Yeah, I agree. And, on the good side, there was an organization that I was very involved with growing up, and our leader was this.
What was the organization?
It's called the International Order of the Rainbow for Girls.
Yeah, I knew there was a reason you weren't saying it out loud.
I've never heard of this.
It's part of the Masonic family.
It's like Harry Potter meets Lisa Frank.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Close, but also, it's service based, it's leadership based, it's national, it's international. And we had a very elegant leader, Mrs. DeBrow, at the time, and one of the things that I love about Misty is she always made people feel special. She knew some little something about everyone, and she could have a conversation with anyone because she would remember the very first time I met her, she said, "Oh, you're on the music committee because you're taking piano lessons." I was like, "Oh, this person who doesn't have to know me or anything about me knows something about me."
Yeah.
And I take that into my practices as well. I like asking about people's kids. I like asking, "Hey, you did this, you did that. Tell me about it." I think as leaders, we forget sometimes that we're on stage all the time, even when we don't realize it or don't, really feel like we should be, because it's just us. But those little moments go a long way in people's their understanding, their wanting to do whatever we're trying to get done, especially when it's hard.
Yeah. Well, and that's got to feel good, having that impact on other people. Do you have like a moment in your MB2 experience where you were like, this is what I set out to do and I did it, even in like a fleeting moment or one situation?
Those are the best moments. Those are, I am perpetually amazed on the cold mornings to walk outside and see my breath in the air. I don't know why, but that just seems absolutely amazing to me. And that's what those moments are for me. There's crystals, the breath, in the air that's visible. A couple of years ago, well, actually, about 2 years ago, I had a couple of office managers that had been with me for years, and both had come to points in their lives where they needed something different. They needed to not be in a practice. One was moving. One was just burnt out, dealing with patients, dealing with call-ins, all of that kind of stuff. And we were able to find a new role for them within MB2. So they still got to stay here.
Yep. I love those stories.
I still get to work with them, and I love them dearly. They're on our ARS team in Cary's region. but it was so cool to be able to say, hey, I know you and I know your skill set and you would be amazing over here. And to be able to get them into that role and watch them thrive in it. They are doing amazing.
I love that. That's a good story.
Good. 100%. It's a great story. So again, getting back to that concept that leadership is innate. Tell us about your grandma.
Oh, my mom. My mom's mom she'll be 90 next summer.
Wow.
And she is a force to be reckoned with in all the ways, the good ways and the less than. She still goes to Boy Scout camp and spends her summers working at a National Boy Scout camp in Northeast New Mexico.
I love that energy. I could use some of that.
She is. She came to visit a few months ago, and I was talking to someone, and they said, "Where's Ma?" And I said, "Oh, she went to the beach." They said, "Why?" I don't know, because she wanted to. Who'd she go with? Herself.
I love it.
She just goes and she does what she wants, and she all through my life has shown the importance of serving others and showing up. It's not always easy. It's not always fun
or convenient,
but it's important. It's what we owe other humans. And, one of the things she always says is you give the most to those that need it the most. And I think that applies a lot in operations, right? There's moments where this practice needs a lot of attention. And then there's moments where that practice settles and this practice needs a lot of attention. And so that pushing your attention back and forth between who needs it the most. But yeah, she's pretty amazing.
I'm probably a little biased just because, but it seems a lot like parenting. You have 2 little girls, and I imagine that you probably had to balance the attention or support that you give them when maybe one needs it a little bit more.
I think leadership is so much like parenting. It's figuring out what each needs and helping them get there, seeing the potential. It's also pushing them in the moments when they don't want to do it, but if they'll just take that step, it will get there. It's about building trust with them and putting what they need or the organization needs or the practice, whatever that thing is, first. Yeah. It's not about the individual. It's about the group. It's about the practice. But there are so many corollaries to being a parent and being a leader.
Well, you said something there that I liked, which was you're tailoring your leadership style to the person, people, greater good that you're working with or supporting versus expecting those people to tailor their employeeship. That's not the right word, or kidness to you and how you quote unquote lead.
Right. I mean, they're each unique humans that bring advantages and opportunities to the table. And it's finding what they're great at and helping them put that to the benefit of whatever we're trying to get to. And potentially helping them learn to get better at the places where they have opportunities. But as the leader, the burden is on me to give them the leader that they need. Mm-hmm. It's not on them to be the employee that I want as a leader.
Yeah.
They got to show up and they got to do their work. But beyond that, it's my obligation as the leader to help them grow and become better versions of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not the same. Everybody doesn't need the same thing.
Absolutely.
Every kid doesn't need the same thing, which is a fascinating dynamic. What? So you've been in Mrs. Reed's shoes. What advice do you have for her as she begins begins this incredible journey that she's on?
Yeah, my girls are about to be 14 and 12.
Wow. And good spacing, by the way. 2 years. That's genius.
It was very intentional. Don't worry.
It sounds like it.
Always a strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I told my husband once we're done with diapers and pacifiers, we are done.
We're out.
We're not doing it anymore. So, I think I wish I could go back and be the confident version of myself as a mom that I have now when they were tiny, because I was just terrified all the time. Somebody decided it was okay to let me be in charge of another human.
It's wild.
without a like a
certification.
Right. I remember leaving the hospital with Scarlett and I was like, wait, we're taking her home. Wait, one of you is coming with us.
Yeah, who's
right?
watching us?
Right. This is
Who's
strange.
making sure that we're doing it right?
Yeah, absolutely. But then you get to their first birthday party, and the first birthday party is really just about the fact that everybody lived for 365 days. Yeah. And is still probably relatively sane at that point. But I wish I could have this mom confidence with my babies because you're just surviving in those early days.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
It's a blur.
It is.
It's a blur.
I think the last MB2 question I have, and then you can wrap up if you have anything else, is what are you excited about in the future of MB2? You've seen MB2 through a lot of different phases. I mean, you came right after Party 100 and we just celebrated Party 800. Mm-hmm. So you've seen MB2 through, very rapid growth, global pandemic. What excites you about the future of operations and MB2?
I think it's that in all of that, and I know moving forward, our culture hasn't changed. It's still about finding the best of private practice and group dentistry and picking the best of both worlds. That's been our culture, and I know that that's not going to change. And so getting to bring that to more and more people, it sounds like a rainbows and butterflies and unicorns kind of thing, but it's not.
Or the Internal Order of the Rainbow Ladies.
That was a good...
Was that close?
That was close.
Yeah,
you got rainbow in there.
Yeah,
that's the only word I heard.
You got most of the letters. I think it's just knowing that no matter how much we grow or how much the industry changes, that is not going to change. Yeah. That we can count on MB2 is good people that are good at what they do, trying to help other good people.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
That's probably the secret sauce in a nutshell of the day.
I did a whole intro around two-stepping, and we didn't ask anything about two-stepping.
Well, let's do it.
So you like two-stepping, huh?
I do.
She's from West Texas.
Is that?
Yes.
Probably the
we can take you to West Texas, apparently.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the rattlesnake roundup in Sweetwater?
Unfortunately, yes.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Yes.
That is an incredible experience. Tell us.
Rattlesnakes were much too much part of my childhood.
Seriously?
We actually, in elementary school, they would come out every year and teach us about rattlesnakes, how far they can strike, how long you have to get a anti-venom shot. They terrified us of rattlesnakes.
Yeah, but legitimately so, right?
They're
all over the place.
I'm sorry to interrupt. A question from our listeners. What the ever-living hell is a rattlesnake roundup? They're just coming together?
So it's a party for snakes. They bring thousands and thousands of rattlesnakes. And they study them, eat them, they race them. It's a whole thing.
There's this city of Sweetwater that's pretty close.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
West
relatively
Texas
close. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Has a rattlesnake queen every year. Mm-hmm. So the concept is that rattlesnakes are obviously dangerous.
Is this something you knew about before, or did you learn about this?
I've been to the rattlesnake roundup. Okay. Yes, I've been to Sweetwater.
Somehow makes this so much weirder.
I have a good friend from Sweetwater. But anyway, because rattlesnakes are so dangerous, there's so many of them, they literally...
Especially West Texas.
Once snake season starts, kind of February, March, well, they come out of their den because in the winter they're in their den. Uh-huh. And so, you round them up because they kill cattle, they hurt people, you know what I mean? So
we get our dogs vaccinated against rattlesnakes in West Texas because they're so prevalent.
Why do people live there?
That's a great question some days.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is.
No offense to our Westies, but
the sunsets,
stars, beautiful.
The stars,
the snakes.
The people.
Oral.
What'd you say?
Oral, oil.
Why are you saying oral so many times?
Texas tea.
He's like oral.
There's a lot of oil. There's a lot of cattle. There's a lot of cotton.
Yeah. Oral.
So what was it like growing up? I mean, we get a glimpse into what it's like growing up. Seriously, small West Texas town. What's the population?
Small West Texas town. I lived in a town of about 28,000 people, but I graduated from high school with 33.
That's crazy.
Unreal.
So tiny little town.
And you graduated with 33. How many of those did you start kindergarten with?
19 of us started kindergarten together and knew each other before we could write our own names all the way up through high school graduation.
I love that. That's so special.
It was great. I loved it. I'm a big advocate of small towns. Everybody knew everybody. Your best friend's parent was as likely to threaten you as your own parent was. But also, hey, I forgot my money. I need something, or can I go home with you? It's home. It's not much to people that aren't from West Texas. It's a very different world, but it's home. So it's a great place. Good people, down to earth people. If you don't mind the smell of cows and oil.
I feel like it's just two-stepping around the rattlesnakes.
No, I'd rather not dance around snakes. I'd rather have a shovel or
a bat.
No, you have to get too close with a bat.
Do you know how to get them out of their dens? Real quick, sorry. So there's a hole like in the ground that's the den, and they spray gasoline in there. And then the snakes don't like that. The snakes come out, and then you have a little bag.
They don't like that. No, weird.
You have a little bag, and you capture them. Anyway, but you need a great floor, right? I'm sure some great dance halls.
Some hardwood floors, some good boots. Good dance partner.
You can't, but you can't two-step without great boots.
Right.
Because it's like you got to slide.
Yeah, you gotta slide on your feet. At the recent owners trip, I taught Will Gill how to two-step.
Oh, man, I bet that guy's got 2 left feet.
Yeah, I'm just not built for that.
I did lead pretty much the whole
That's
time.
Awesome. Of course you
But
did.
you'd have
I can't
to.
wait to go talk to him about that, and I will right after this.
No, two-stepping is fun. My husband and I have some friends that we like to go out with, probably like once a month, and just go and spin around the dance floor for a little bit.
I want to be her. I'm just not.
You will someday. In high school around here, they also have like two-stepping like teams, competitive teams.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
That's a little aggressive.
Well,
That is, I don't know. I think it might lose its fun at that point.
Yeah, she's like, I like this, and I think that's a lot. He's like, I didn't just put my kids in that, for sure.
Wasn't my favorite high school activity, I swear.
Rachel, it's been a blast.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, thank you for joining us for another great episode of the MB2 Underground podcast. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.